Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sterling Channel 19 as we are back on this beautiful Friday night, and we're bringing you guys some football between the Gateway Gators and your Sterling Silver Knights. It's a beautiful night outside tonight. It's game time starting at 6 p.m. The weather tonight, 80 degrees with winds around 7 miles per hour. The humidity is a little high, and then tonight's forecast is looking a little cloudy, but at the moment, the sun is shining very bright. Looking at the WJFL Royal, Haddon Township leading the way 2-0, 2-0. Gloucester Catholic behind them 2-0 and 1-1. And then that is Pittman, who beat Sterling earlier this year, who is 1-1 and 1-1. Then your Silver Knights are behind 1-1 and 1-1. Clayton is 1-1 and 1-2. Gateway 0-1 and 1-2 overall. And then Camden Mastery 0-2 and 0-2, who Sterling previously beat their last game. So taking a look at both of these teams, Sterling averaging 10 offensive points per game, while Gateway averages 16. Sterling averages 23 defensive points given, and Gateway averages another 16. Sterling 1-1 home and away, Gateway 0-1, and Sterling's last win against Gateway came in 2015, where they won 35-34, and Gateway's came in 2008. So looking overall at both of these teams, Sterling 78 and 123 in all the years of being this program. Gateway 69 and 134. Their league percentages are 33 and 71, and Gateway's is 33-65. Their home and away is 39-60, and Gateway's is 24-79. And their last division title for the Knights came in 2005, and Gateway's came in 2018. So Sterling leads against Gateway 29-6-1. Their last meeting was in 2015, where Sterling won 35-34. Gateway last won in 2008. Sterling has won 6 in a row against the Gateway Gators. Both of these teams pretty evenly matched up throughout their years. And we're just getting underway here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Daniel Leakin, joined by Kevin Schulz and Max Zubak here in the booth. And Schulz, two evenly matched teams throughout their history. What does this bring for today's matchup?
Well, I think you're looking at two teams that, they play hard. And I think with Sterling, even though you had that rough fourth quarter last week, one thing I saw in the first 3 quarters was their ability to gang tackle, get to the ball, and more importantly, break down as they go to a runner that's very fast and very shifty.
And I'm going to add on that with they've been getting good on the sides. They were getting attacked on the sides first couple of weeks. Last week they were locked down. Not a lot of screens were working. It was good to watch. Gives you a little bit of confidence going into this week that the defense can stay locked down, which is what you need in a league like this.
Definitely. And again, as I mentioned, throughout their history of both of these teams, they're very, very evenly matched. We looked at some of the statistics, and throughout the division, and not only the division, but overall, both of these teams are evenly matched. And Schulz, what do you think Sterling has to do to come out on top for their 7th straight win against the Gateway Gators?
Well, I think if you do a lot of things you did last week, well, first of all, avoid penalties. You got to be disciplined. That was the big thing that really made them come unglued there and almost lose the game last week. But I think if you continue to gang tackle, get everybody to the ball, and again, play discipline. Don't flag somebody out of control where he can make a move on you and get upfield for, say, a 50-yard run. That can't happen. But I think if they build on a lot of things they did last week, a lot of the good things, they're going to be in good shape tonight.
And there's, obviously discipline, which is what you had mentioned. It took, with the flags, about an hour for that third quarter to get, done. You can't let stuff like that happen. It just drains you as players. It's rough to, play through 60 minutes of what's supposed to be a 12-minute quarter.
So, getting started here. Team's about to kick off. Sterling looking for their 2nd straight win. The Gateway Gators, though, without their starting quarterback, who unfortunately had an ACL injury, that is Aiden Bender. And today, they will be starting Gianni Pembroke at quarterback. So definitely interesting look for them. Thank you to their athletic director for sending us these great game notes for the week. It actually limited the homework that I had to do. And, man, they are really useful, really beautiful. So, Gateway Athletic Director, we want to appreciate and thank you for sending us these game notes.
Yeah, that's always good. Again, a lot of times we have to go digging for it, but for them to present all this stuff to us really helps out with the broadcast. But what you just to add on to what you just mentioned, Dan, both teams have been affected by injuries, and it's very interesting. It'll be very interesting to see how some of the younger guys come in, step up, and fill these different roles.
What's crazy about the injuries on both sides, they come to the same position, both originally starting quarterbacks. Sterling's shoulder got a little messed up, collarbone got a little messed up. For Gateway, the ACL tear, horrible to hear about. Now these backups, Crespo we saw last week, gave Sterling their first win and a solid leading performance. And then as for this new oncoming starter for Gateway, I haven't seen much with him, but I'm sure he's feeling a little nervous, feeling a little pressure against a team that's coming off of a win away. It's going to be tough for him, get into motion so long as the Sterling defense stays as they did the week prior.
So Gateway got their first win of the season, 42-20 against Wildwood last week, and Sterling also got their 16-12 against Mastery, and we are underway here in these Friday Night Lights. Thank you all for joining us as there's a fumble on the snap. Sterling has to get on it, and they do. So Gateway offensive starters here, ladies and gentlemen. Number 16, as we mentioned, the quarterback, Gianni Pembroke. At halfback, it's number 4, Aiden Barbado. At number 2, wide receiver, DJ Bink. At number 7, wide receiver, Dylan Cruette. At number 11, wide receiver, Jake Finger. The tight end, number 19, Jackson Bailey. And on the line, it's the left tackle, Matt Steedle. The left guard, Nick Watts. The center, Kevin Zagone. The right guard, Anthony Hewitt. And the right tackle, John Morris. So this Gateway offense, very high-powered, scored 42 points in their win against Wildwood last week. It's going to be interesting to see what they do here in this 1st and 10 at around their 20. So Sterling's defense, definitely a vocal point of the team last week. Did a great job holding Mastery as there's a run play going up the middle. And a big tackle from that defensive line. Amazing job by that defensive line. And here is the Sterling defense, number 11 at the cornerback positions, Briley Crevatus Sharp. At that outside linebacker, it's number 0, Jaden Davis. At that middle linebacker spot, it's number 52, Rene Camacho. At that outside linebacker spot, it's number 49, Mason Marvin. At the strong safety spot, it's Cameron Johnson. At that free safety spot, it's Joseph Carter. At the corner spot, it's Gabe Tirado. And at this defensive line, it's Eddie Sears, Mason Boyd-Neal, Jake Churchill, and the speedy Will Nicholas. So after that loss of down by the defense and definitely a loss of yards, Gateway looking to pick it up, a run up the middle, great cut by the running back, and he's through for the first down. A great cut by the running back gives Gateway their first down in the game.
Now you see Gateway attacking right up the gut, and they were able to take the linebackers out of the play, and that's a wide open hole there, Dan. When you get to that quick enough, you're going to get that extra yardage at the second level, and he was able to do that.
That was a great run by, looked like Aiden Barbado, the Gateway halfback, cutting up through the middle. Definitely someone who likes to bounce and find the holes after not seeing it originally. Definitely a big heads-up halfback for Gateway. So they're dealt with a 1st and 10 at the 35. Man in motion, a pitch out to the outside. Sterling trying to pounce on it. Eddie Sears on the edge, tries to get the tackle, and he has Greengrass ahead of him to the 30, to the 20, has room, and he's going to get this touchdown for the Gateway Gators. What a score! And that's number 31, Lamar Smith, but there is a penalty flag on the field. Gateway seems a little upset, and that one is going to be charged to the Gateway Gators. So that negates the huge touchdown from Lamar Smith. But nevertheless, Jules, what a big run.
You had a lot of bodies out there and opportunities to make the play. Obviously, Sterling is fortunate to get this penalty, but you really got to do a better job of tackling. You see everybody out there. Now, Gateway didn't do a bad job seeing them. Right there, there's a missed tackle there. And you have a back there that's got some game-breaking speed. So, again, you've got to basically go back to what you did last week when you had a lot of bodies going to the ball carrier and not allowing them to get upfield.
So Sterling breathes a sigh of relief after that huge run by Smith was negated from the scoreboard, which brings a 2nd and 15 here for the Gateway Gators. Gators running game dominating thus far.
Sterling went with the blitz, but it was to the far side. You take a guess. If that was to the near side, you probably would have gained penetration and been able to make the stop in the backfield. But that's what happens when you blitz and take chances. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
So 2nd and 15 here for Gateway. Gianni Pembroke, listening to what the ref is saying, seems like a bit of confusion between the ref and the Gateway sideline. Gives me a little bit of flashbacks from last week with this long stoppage, but nevertheless, here we go. So Pembroke in the shotgun. ready to take this snap. Gives it off to the halfback, and what a tackle! Great tackle there by number 44, Will Nicholas. He was a great defensive player for the Knights last week, coming up with a big tackle on the speedy number 4, Aiden Barbada.
Look at the penetration here by the defensive line. That was the key to that play. You get into the offensive backfield, he's got to shift over, and it gives guys like Will Nicholas right there the opportunity to make the play.
The design like that, it gives someone there, because the gap's there, but you have someone still vaguely defending it so they can attack it. If you don't have someone to pounce on it, plays like the called back touchdown continue to happen. Play like that on defense, you should be able to stop the inside, maybe force some screens you can stop, maybe force some passing plays, because they've been run after run after run.
So empty backfield here for the Gateway Gators. In the snap is Pembroke. Takes the snap. Defensive pressure getting there. Fires it deep over the top and drops it. Great defense there by that Sterling defense. Causes an incompletion, a big one. And
he tried to go up top, and that's a play where you have confidence in your receiver in a crowd because he was never open. And sometimes if you have a kid who can get up and get after it, you're going to throw it in a crowd because you feel like he can win the one-on-one battle.
Yeah, and it's good discipline by the corners to not jump the gun and get a PI called, because that's a ton of yardage they gain off of just 1 second too early.
So there was a penalty on the field. It was a false start on the offense that was declined by the Knights. So that brings up 3rd down and 15. Another penalty, the second of the game so far. Already getting that flashback feel of a lot of stoppages. Oh, there's another whistle. It looks like a timeout on Gateway. So again, thank you all for joining us here on Sterling TV 19 in the early stages of the Friday Night Lights. I'm Daniel Leakin, joined by Kevin Schulz and Max Zubak. It's great to be out here on this beautiful night. Looks like soccer finished up a little bit ago, and our next TV game, speaking of, will be Thursday, September 26th. A huge game, Sterling Soccer. It'll be Sterling versus Cinnamons, live on Channel 19 and live on YouTube.com/Sterling TV 19.
Cinnamons and a team or a school that's good in a lot of sports. We've spent a lot of time going there for a lot of playoff games, whether it's basketball, some soccer games, and should be an interesting matchup there, Dan.
So I'm Daniel Leakin, joined by Kevin Schulz and Max Zubak on the further side, and I'm just glad everyone's with us here tonight. This beautiful night, weather cooled down a little bit, and as Schulz mentioned, that game next Thursday is going to be a big one for the Knights, and I know a lot of the players have been talking about it, doing their scouting, and Cinnamons is no joke.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A big game midway through the season, and it's a Sterling team that's really done a good job so far. And as we're looking here, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Sterling went on some type of blitz. Take a chance, because you really have them with their backs against the wall here on 3rd down.
So Pembroke in the shotgun, takes the snap, looking towards the outside. Sterling does send a blitz, a pass to the outside, and it's intercepted by Jaden Davis. Davis has room towards the outside, cuts, and gets tackled down by the 37. What a pick by Davis, and Sterling gets possession.
Yeah, you had a lot of pressure. Went with the blitz with the linebacker, the near linebacker, and just putting that little bit of extra pressure on the quarterback allowed him to have to get rid of the ball quickly. Looks like his arm might have gotten hit, and that's a big play here early on for the Knights.
Eagles on Monday night couldn't say the same thing about what they did to Kirk Cousins. That is something NFL teams need to look at if they want to play better on primetime. Wonderful play call to pressure the quarterback, force a deep throw he has no vision on, and get that interception. Great field position for Sterling's offense to come out on, get a drive, possibly score 6.
Jaden Davis, a big playmaker in this secondary for the Knights, a big boomstick kind of guy, but definitely big with that pick as Crespo looks to hand this one off to Lewis. Lewis towards the outside, gets swarmed by that defensive line, but does a good job of cutting back in and getting a few yards. So taking a look here at the Sterling offense today. So we're going to have at number 13, the quarterback, Antonio Crespo. At the tailback, we're going to have number 27, Terrell Lewis. At the tight end, we're going to have Will Nicholas. And again, we see Terrell Lewis on there as the wide receiver. Nolan Giles, the outside wide receiver. And a number 2 wide receiver, it's Jay Solly Ward. And the offensive line goes as followed: John Crawford, Desi Mullen, Liam Crawford, Mason Marvin, and Daniel Capabianco. So looking from a big game from this offense. Definitely has the opportunity to do so as they hand it off here towards Lewis. And Lewis drops the ball, and it looks like Gateway may have possession. And this signals that they do. A big drop ball there from Terrell Lewis. and a big turnover from the Knights. After getting that defensive turnover, they give it right back.
Yeah, that's
Gateway.
a tough one on Terrell Lewis, who had a real good game last week, and so far really has had a nice season. But, we always say that penalties and turnovers play a big part on you coming out on top or coming up short in a game. So that's something, you get in traffic there. You really want to make sure you've got both hands firmly on that ball.
So not a good start from that Sterling offense as Terrell Lewis drops a pass. After getting the turnover, they give it right back to Gateway, and Gateway now at 1st and 10 at around their 30. In the shotgun, takes the snap, gets it to his halfback, cuts towards the edge, and a great tackle there. That's Rene Camacho, the big sophomore with a huge tackle on number 4, Aiden Burbato, to prevent pretty much a big run into that open field.
Well, that's just a good team defense right there. Defensively, you had the defensive line hold up the line surge, and Camacho just came up just like you should as a linebacker. Read, react, step up, fill the hole, make the play.
It's something you need to do to contain the runs that these two teams have, as they did with Lewis just now, the Gateway defense, and now the Sterling defense doing something similar. It's something that, as long as it keeps working, it gives you the advantage in a game like this.
So it looks like a pitch out to Smith, and Smith gets swallowed up by that Sterling defensive line. What a start for this defense with a mixed tackle there with Will Nicholas and Jaden Davis in the mix, and that brings up a 3rd down for Gateway.
Well, that was what we saw last week, especially in that first half. Defensively, they got good upfield pressure into the offensive backfield as it went to the outside.
So we're going to take a look at the interception earlier that Jaden Davis caused. Right place in the right time, quarterback underthrew it a little bit, and just as Max said, great pressure call there from the Knights to, cause a little bit of mayhem in that backfield. So we're looking at another 3rd down here for Gateway. The Sterling defense doing a good job of not letting them get anything started. So it looks like Pembroke in the shotgun, ready to take the snap. Gets it to the outside, narrowly tipped, and has some room to run, but gets swallowed up. Again, Jaden Davis, one of the great playmakers so far in this game. So we're going to see if Gateway wants to go for it in 4th down.
Well, more pressure by Sterling, and you see how Gateway did a nice job countering with that with a quick throw to the outside. Get it in your playmaker's hands, get his shoulders square upfield, and get him going and make him go and get in a position where he can have an impact in this game.
So it looked like that was DJ Bink on that really nice reception, and it looks like Gateway is going to get ready to punt this one away. Kind of a line drive punt. Sterling be best not to field this one, but they fall on top. So it trickles back to behind the 30, around the 27, and Sterling with not so great field position this time around to get started.
But maybe the field.
So you can follow us on Twitter or X at SterlingTV19, where you can see live updates of all the games and things happening around the castle. So make sure you follow us on Twitter or X at SterlingTV19.
Twitter does not like me, apparently. As I was going to say, maybe it was the field position that kind of gave pressure to this Sterling offense. Maybe they needed something that's a little further back, get a build-up on the drive. Maybe that's something they needed just mentally to clear themselves, warm themselves up for this first quarter, get themselves used to stretching the field, run the clock.
So Max with a rookie mistake cutting off Kane as promos as Crespo sends someone to the outside, gets the run going, using their fullback / tight end Will Nicholas to get some yards. And that was an interesting play. We haven't seen Sterling really utilize Nicholas in that backfield yet.
No, not at all. But you saw them last week. I know they were hitting the tackle hole, doing that consistently, mixing that with when they get in close, going to the corner of the end zone. And it's the type of attack that keeps defenses on their feet, because you have to look for the run and the pass.
So Sterling approach with 2nd and 5. Looking to substitute the last drive where it was a turnover. Terrell Lewis looking to make up for that turnover. Terrell Lewis breaks towards the outside. Good run by Lewis. Angry, hard run, which puts Sterling in a good position, looks like, for this 3rd down.
And we saw Lewis get a lot of runs to the outside. This is impressive because you saw Gateway get penetration initially, get in the backfield, hit Lewis, breaks the tackle, and bounces it out to the outside and gets himself a nice little gain there in something that really should have been stopped behind the line of scrimmage.
So that was a first down for the Silver Knights. It looked like Lewis was stopped maybe a little short, but they gave him the yardage. So it looks like a 1st and 10 here for the Silver Knights. As it goes right back to Lewis. Lewis cuts to the outside. Lewis tries to find a hole, kind of swallowed up by that Gateway defense, but does power forward for a couple of yards. It's a nice run by Lewis.
Now, if you're Gateway's, coordinators and head coaches, you got to be wondering, are they running this much maybe to have us get sold in the play action and send it to another guy who had a phenomenal game last week, Nolan Giles? He's got the height, he's got the hands. Do you think he could have the impact he had against Camden Mastery against a defense like this, which is, at least from what we've seen, a little more coordinated than last week's opponents?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I think Nolan Giles in a one-on-one matchup, especially in that corner of that end zone, I'm going to take him anytime.
So Lewis towards the outside, gets it over to Nicholas. Nicholas fights forward for a few yards, but they have some ground to make here with this 3rd down. And I do agree, Nolan Giles last week with a big touchdown over a defender to give Sterling, I think it was a 12-point or maybe a 16-point lead going into half. No, I was right. It was a 12-point lead going into half. So it gave Sterling a 12-point lead going into half, but it was a big catch by Giles, and it was very impressive to see him get up. So Crespo here on a very intense 3rd down. A big one for the Knights if they want to keep this drive going. Gets it over to Lewis, has a blocker in front, and swallowed by the secondary. That was number 31, Lamar Smith, making plays on both sides of the ball, and Sterling's faced with the 4th down.
Well, Gateway hasn't had a problem getting penetration in the backfield. They've just been missing tackles. You saw Lewis do a nice job getting away from the defender. But that time they got in there, hit, wrap, and again, we've seen Sterling get to the point of attack but be overly aggressive and not break down. Gateway did it right there and made the play.
So speaking of the devil, Giles here to send this punt away for the Knights as they get faced with the 4th and 4. After a 1st down, they couldn't convert on the next play of drive, so Giles ready to kick this one away. Not his natural position, but Giles is one heck of a punter as it bobbled in this field, and a nice, what a breakthrough. And Gateway still going, but a nice recovery there from the Knights. That tackle was made by number 11, Briley Creventus Sharp. Missed the 1st tackle, but got the 2nd on DJ Bink. And Gateway has some rough field position to start.
And in the early part of this season, guys, there's been some ups and downs, but one thing that's been pretty consistent has been their coverage on punts and kickoffs, and you saw it right there. I like the discipline. Everybody stays in their lane, especially with some of these teams that have game breakers. You got to watch. You got to watch them getting to the outside, but everybody stays in their lane, breaks down, and they do a real nice job.
So 2 minutes and 32 seconds left in this 1st quarter. Game tied at 0. Sterling defense starts the way they want, but their offense not so much, and the same story goes there for the Gateway Gators, where this offense has kind of slowed down, but their defense has shown a lot of potential. As here's a nice run here from the Gateway halfback. That's number 4, Aiden Barbado. And a way to get it started here for the Gateway Gators.
And something I'll say about how Gateway's offense has been this past, first 10 minutes of this quarter, they've been very good at trying to predict where Sterling thinks they'll go. They're playing this run game as though it's a chess game, and it's the way to do it against a team how Sterling does, where they kind of, I wouldn't say frequently, but they like to test the waters and see if a blitz will work, and if it does, how frequently can you catch them on it. If you are able to expose stuff like that, that's what gets you the yards if you're Gateway.
So a 2nd down here for the Gateway Gators. As here's another run straight up the middle for Barbado, and this time Sterling reads it like a book. What a tackle there from the Knights D-line as Davis hit on that one again, along with number 49, Mason Marvin, and that brings up a 3rd down for Gateway.
That is the pressure that you see, if you see here, right off the snap. He gets it, he hands it off, and immediately there's a wall that he has to go through. It is not something you're going to be able to run past.
Also, that middle linebacker, Renan Camacho, a big game changer there for the Knights with a huge tackle. So that brings up 3rd down for Pembroke and the offense. Looking to get something against the Sterling defense. Has done a great job of getting some pressure on the quarterback. They send a blitz, and it gets through, hit as he throws. It definitely has to get past a few people, but nice tackle there. That was number 19, Gabe Torrado, and again, Jaden Davis on that tackle. Bink had nowhere to go, and that brings up a 4th down for the Gateway Gators.
Hasn't Jaden Davis just been the factor that they can't get past in this game. He has the interception, has some good pressures, has some tackles, some assists on some tackles. I'm assuming the second quarter will be another big quarter for him because it takes halftime to adjust. But after this first half, how much focus do you think coaches put on neutralizing him when they're back in the locker room?
Davis, an absolute natural athlete, just has that ability to him. As here's a fake here by the Gateway Gators, and they're going to get the first down and much more. Gateway Gators going up the side, and they get hit out around the 40. What a play by Gateway. Caught Sterling special teams lacking for the second time in a row. It happened last week and it happened this week. And Sterling now trying to reel back their defense at the 40.
The difference between the two instances is how Camden Mastery did it time after time, and this is just one. They've already punted in this game. Camden Mastery, I just think, didn't have any kicking confidence, so they kept on faking it, kept on seeing what they could get away with. And this time around, Gateway hits him with a punt the first time, then says, no, I think we've got it this time around, completely fools the Sterling defense.
Completely is right. Sterling special teams was not ready there for that fake after the first punt by the Gateway Gators, and now Gateway Gators in Sterling territory looking to strike for their first touchdown of the game.
I talked too early about special teams, too. I was there, the Kiss of Death, Channel 19 Kiss of Death.
So that's Barbado going up the middle, finds the hole to the outside, gives Gateway some good yards, has them at around a 2nd and 1. Just short of the first. So Gateway now moving down the field with efficiency, and that brings us to the end of the first quarter. So it's 0-0 as we go into this commercial break. We'll be right back at you with second quarter action. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sterling TV 19. 0-0 the score going into the second quarter as we take a look at that beautiful city of brotherly love in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Phillies looking to secure a playoff spot tonight against the New York Mets. Came up short last night after a terrible Taiwan outing. And there is Coach Desmond Wiggins, definitely the head pioneer of this program. And as Kenny McCardle mentioned on the last broadcast, there's no one that you'd rather build your program around than Desmond Wiggins.
Yeah, good guy. Obviously, we're saying, head of the wrestling program also. And you're looking at two sports that really go hand in hand.
So Sterling looking at a 2nd and 1 as there's a give to the outback, and then it's stuffed by that defensive line. Eddie Sears, one of the first ones to it. And that brings a 3rd down here for the Gateway Gators in pretty short territory.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a misdirection play. We'll look at this initially. Everybody's going right, then they go left, and that's just great discipline. Sometimes teams will go for that initial fake, step one way, and once you make a step the wrong way, you take yourself out of the play. But good job by the Sterling defense staying home and making the play.
I'm going to very much hope that wasn't just lucky that they didn't wrap around after not seeing the line move. But if it wasn't that...
So Pembroke gives to the outside, and it's stuffed by Eddie Sears. Eddie Sears coming off that outside by Eddie Sears, that senior. What a tackle. And that brings up 4th down here for the Gateway Gators. They have a very important decision to make here.
It looked like Eddie Sears shot the gap and got real good penetration, and that's how you stop a play like this. Get into the offensive backfield. Eddie Sears showing great speed, getting to the ball carrier, and staying on his feet, wrapping, making the play.
So Pembroke operating this 4th down here for the Gateway Gators. He's going to line up behind center. Sterling maybe going to send some pressure here as they've done all game. And it looks like a QB sneak. Powerful legs of Pembroke gives him a ton of yards. Sterling's defense can't bring him down. And he gets to the 25, easily gets the first down there for the Gateway Gators.
Yeah, guys, it looked like Sterling really didn't do too bad of a job initially up front, but, boy, that was just – you look at the legs going. You nailed it, Danny. He just kept the legs going, kept going. And you win battles like that with the lower half of your body, and that's what happened right there in that play, and they got the first down.
You win a fight through persistence, and that is exactly what happened there. He had his team around him to protect, and Sterling just couldn't get the man down. And they got a reset on the downs and another opportunity for 6.
As Bax said, definitely an opportunity for 6 here for the Gateway Gators, who had a rough showing in the first quarter with their offense, but now picking it up towards the end of that quarter and the start of this one. So Pembroke goes under center, gets it out to his running back, and it looks like a fake, throws it deep, and what a catch, and a touchdown for Gateway! What a trick play! The catch caught by number 11, Jacob Finger, and the throw from DJ Bink, and there's 6 for the Gateway Gators.
Well, one thing we've seen early on here from Gateway is they're not afraid to go to receivers that are covered, and he was definitely covered right here, but did a great job adjusting, coming back for the ball. You know, you could have receivers that have all the speed in the world, but they don't have a knack for adjusting and reacting to where the ball's thrown. But you saw a great job by that young man doing that and getting rewarded with 6.
And you know, Finger had a great route written for him there, a long curl. If you see the corner on him, that's going to be Cervantes Sharp. He runs past him, thinking it's going to be straight into the end zone, but he stops, pivots, stays there, and then moves. It's great play design.
Just adjust it to the ball.
You know, more impressively, what a throw by Bink to really hit Finger in stride, and that gives Gateway a 7-0 lead. So trickery, the moral of the story so far here for the Gateway Gators. Sterling has to come back, and, you know, with an offensive drive of their own, as they've been a little slow to start.
And that's a tough, you know, if you're a defender, you'll see right here, get another angle right here. You're the defender right there. For a second, he lost track of the ball, and the receiver's looking at it the whole way, and obviously he reacted and made the play.
So big second quarter action here. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Daniel Leakin, joined by Kevin Schulz and Max Zubak here today as the sun's going down a little bit. Still creeping up a little bit, though, to give us some light on the field. A beautiful sunset going on behind the castle as we see a nice drone shot of the field operated by the one, the only Jonathan Orlino, substituting for Casey Kaz as he is at work today.
And this is where, you know, you got beaten by a big play, but the leaders on your team just have to keep everybody up. Forget about what just happened, learn from it, but move on. And you need a bunch of people out there who want to make a play, whether it's on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball.
So Gateway looking to kick this one away as we get a nice shot of the sunset going onto the field. After a big couple trickery plays from Gateway, give them their first score of the game. Looks like number 8, Golem Khan, is going to kick this one towards Sterling. Fielded cleanly, so Sterling has some room to roam. Cuts up the field, gets a burst of speed, and there's green grass ahead of him. He's cut to the 40, to the 30, to the 20. He has the wheels, he has the speed, and it's a touchdown for the Knights. What an amazing play. That's number 8, JoJo Carter, getting Sterling their first 6 of the game.
Well, Carter did what you need to do on kickoff returns. Go right to the gut, get upfield to hurry. Outstanding job by the receiving team in getting to the point where they opened up the hole right in the middle of the field. Looked like they had a little bit of a wedge there, and he hit that hole. Boy, he never looked back. Really just put on the afterburners, and that's a big play here for Strong early on, responded to Gateway's touchdown.
I know we've talked a lot about this Gateway running game having a lot of penetration. You want penetration, that was a wrecking ball through that special teams to put Sterling on the board.
So JoJo Carter, what a ferocious run cutting up the middle. Jeremy Clark comes on to attempt the extra point. Perfect on the season and stays perfect now. Nice kick there from Clark to make this game 7-7. So Gateway scores and Sterling responds with a big run from JoJo Carter. What an amazing play. And man, the castle is amped up right now. The bench is amped up as we get a replay look here. JoJo Carter gets amazing blocks. And just the speed on that kid to cut up, and he had open field from the 50.
He really did. And a lot of times when you see the long kicks and they get it deep in the end of the field, there's a tendency to go to the outside, because if you run up the middle, you get hit by somebody who's got 40 yards of steam coming at you, it's going to be a big hit. But Carter just saw the hole, got to it in a hurry, and they were never even close. You look at right here, the hole developing. We're going to get a great shot of it here. Look at that. And Carter saw it, and you got a block right there. And, boy, he cut just a little bit, and then right when he got to that hash right there, he knew he was gone.
So JoJo Carter showing off the elusiveness and the speed. And, I mean, he was all the way from that 50-yard line. So Sterling needs to play some good defense here to try and combat that big score. And what's important for Sterling is to make sure that they can prevent Gateway from getting another one and try and go on top.
No doubt. And a great run by Carter, but just as good of a job with that camera work there from our tech crew.
Yeah, oh
that
gosh.
Was a great shot. You could see exactly what happened, and really great to see.
So Owen Sullivan and RJ Anderson up top doing a great job with their camera work the past couple of games, as here's a big tackle coming from the Knights. Julian O'Donnell got the initial pressure, and Sterling swallowed him up. And you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sterling Channel 19, as we're going to have live games, commercials, and most importantly, those Castle connections with our principal, Jared Claiborne. So make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/SterlingTV19. So, wow, what an electric play to really get the energy going in the Castle. And, I mean, that's exactly the lifeline that Sterling need after those couple of trick plays that kind of knocked them down.
Yeah, and, you know, when you get good plays by special teams or a lot of your younger players, and that really says a lot. And the only one time I think they really fell apart, and one of the few times they fell apart, was the last return by Gateway. Other than that, on both, you know, whether it's coverage or return teams, they've been solid.
So the defensive line swallows them up immediately, and it looks like Sterling gets possession. A big tackle by Eddie Sears. Possession taken by number 5, Josh Hernandez, and Sterling really feeling it now.
Isn't this just an impressive performance thus far? You see things like this, it's constant attack, constant penetration, and then they force a fumble, which is a get back from the fumble in the first half on that first drive. Wonderful play by the defense, and this offense needs to keep this momentum. We have another angle here. Gets the ball a little low, hands off, he fumbles the handoff, and Hernandez jumps on it and gives Sterling a chance at the lead.
I mean, that play was blown up from the start. As we're going to have a change in quarterback. Looks like number 9, Julian Johnson, coming in here for the Knights. Gets it out to his running back, Zion Arnett, and Zion Arnett with room to run. And what a play by the 2 basketball stars. Julian Johnson to Zion Arnett, something that we normally announce in the winter, but now getting a sneak peek here in the fall. And what a run by Zion Arnett.
Well, you see they give the ball to Zion Arnett in open space out there, and he just heads upfield. He's a kid who's got a lot of potential here, just coming out for football recently. But, you know, the way they go to Nolan Giles, obviously he was a back there, but the way they went to Nolan Giles in the corner of the end zone, I could see Zion Arnett coming out of the backfield and doing the same type of thing to him, because he's a kid who you have to feel good with his ability to leap to win those one-on-one matchups.
So what a crazy time this is. The 2 basketball stars, you know, trying out a different sport here. So Johnson gets in the shotgun, gives it off to Hernandez. Hernandez takes it up the upside, and Hernandez does a great job of powering through for the Silver Knights. Gives them about a second and manageable here against this Gateway defense.
I mean, he is toughness, isn't he? He's got the durability. He finds the hole. It's just a little bit of a lack of a block. With someone with a little more support on that left side, that could be green grass for miles for him.
And that was a great job up front. You saw that push of the offensive line. This line's definitely feeding off the momentum of what's transpired in the last 3 or 4 minutes in this game.
So whistle blows. Looks like Gateway getting a late substitution off of the field. Looks like number 12, Danny Leone, comes off for Gateway. And number 19, Jackson Bailey, enters. So Sterling doing a good job of moving down the field so far in this Julian Johnson drive. Johnson gets into shotgun, has Hernandez next to him, and then Nicholas in front. Gives it off to Hernandez. Hernandez has to get the outside, but that play was swallowed up by that Gateway defensive line. Gets no gain and loses a couple. It's 3rd down.
And you can tell from a momentum standpoint, obviously a field position standpoint, Gateway feels like they're losing a little bit in this game. Looked like they went with a stunt there to the outside. Just taking a chance right there with Sterling having a lot of momentum deep in the Gateway end of the field.
Now here's what my question is. When do you start passing for the Silver Knights? I don't think we've seen a singular throw in this game thus far from that offense. If they start implementing some play action, send it to the right a bit, this could be 6.
And with that being said, Sterling sends out Nolan Giles out onto the field, their deep threat receiver from last game. Looks like a one-on-one matchup to the outside with number 2, DJ Bink, who has a passing touchdown in this game. So Johnson under shotgun, has 2 receivers out to the sides of him, facing some pressure, scrambles out, gets a couple of yards, has some room to run, but gets tackled, and the ball comes out. The ball comes out. Gateway going the other way, trying to get hawked down. Doesn't. He's going. Is he going to get hawked down? Tahim Sal coming from behind, but it doesn't matter, and it's a touchdown for the Gateway Gators. A big mistake from the Knights, and Gateway has the momentum now. It's 13-7.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. You saw Julian Johnson in the initial part of that play as things were breaking down. Looked downfield, saw nothing was there, tried to step up initially and make something happen. But this is a kid who hasn't played a lot of quarterback, and he's going to learn from this one and know that at that point, once you're a running back, you just got to do a better job of securing the ball. But, it's all part of learning to play that position.
It's definitely the hardest position in this sport, besides secondary. And he plays both of those, so he has, he's plays safety. He's got some experience with making sure the ball is kept in his hands. It obviously is a very different, circumstances to make that the case, but I feel like that should be the goal. Come these next couple of weeks of practice, if you're going to keep getting some reps, some minutes, just work on possession.
So the kick.
Even in that play, the way he moved around, I wouldn't be surprised as this game moves on. This kid is getting experience, has great athletic ability, and just a kid who I think could have a real good knack for the position. You see the mistake right there. And I wouldn't be surprised if in this game he makes some big plays.
So 14-7 is the score. Gateway, after giving up that big touchdown as a result of a JoJo Carter kick return, answer with one of their own off of a defensive forced fumble, taken back to the house. And I do have to compliment Tahim Sal, number 4 on the Knights. If we get another replay of the drone angle, we can see him hustle back and try and hawk down number 11, Jacob Finger, who has a receiving touchdown in this game. So we're going to keep this one going. And there's number 4 coming off the edge. Almost looked like DK Metcalf going for Buda Baker a couple of years back, but clearly did not get it because Finger had that yard advantage. And this game is going to be 14-7. So great back-and-forth action here in this game. And definitely the action you want to see from both of these teams, and especially for Sterling, who had a couple of unencouraging first couple of games, but, really looking competitive today.
Yeah, this is a back-and-forth game. This is what you ask for, Dan. This is why we really liked what we saw, and we saw the schedule coming into the season. We knew we were going to have some competitive games as opposed to what we were up against last year.
Yeah, very different from last year, where it was kind of just going into a game as a fan like, how much is our opponent going to score this time around? But this last few weeks, it's been competitive. In the first couple of losses, obviously, you're feeling out the team.
Sterling's really got, you watch this play right here. Gateway almost recovered this ball. You had the kick go down there. That's still in play. That's a free ball. And Sterling, it's one thing if it's a punt, but on a kickoff, you got to get to that ball.
And I think this has happened a few times for this Knights team where they have gotten a little confused with what is playable, what isn't. Last week, there was one onside kick that was fielded when Sterling had that opportunity, and sometimes punts deflect, and I feel like they got to do a better job of just, letting them know, hey, this is where you can touch it. This is where you can't.
And that's the mental part of the game. That's where, and I know the coaches are teaching this, they're telling them this, but the kids got to take it in, and they're the ones that have to react out on the field. So it's just something where they've got to learn from it. Coaches can tell you till you're blue in the face, but you've got to do it on the field.
So if you're just tuning in, there was a passing touchdown from Bink to Finger for Gateway, and then a kick return touchdown from JoJo Carter, moving like JoJo Rabbit. And then just a couple minutes ago, there was a forced fumble touchdown for Gateway. So we're going to step aside for this timeout. We'll be right back here in just a few moments.
Hey, how was the game?
It was great. We won.
I'm sorry I missed it.
It's okay. You can check out all the highlights on Sterling TV 19's YouTube channel.
Oh, wow, really? All right, I'll check it out then.
Bye.
So as that commercial said, make sure you visit youtube.com/SterlingTV19 for all live updates of games and commercials, and most importantly, as I mention all the time, Castle Connections with our principal, Mr. Claiborne. So we just got a note that a kick return touchdown, JoJo Carter, that we mentioned a few seconds before, likes to be referred to as JoJo Carter. There's a fumble on the ground. It looks like Sterling maintains possession for this offside kick. Or onside kick, excuse me.
Fortunate to get this, but this is one where you can't let it bounce. Just step up and catch it. I mean, because obviously after it bounces, it's tough to field. But right here, step up and catch it. Once you see that in the air, and you can even on a kickoff, I know you think of fair catches with punts, you can fair catch a kickoff also.
Yeah. So just want to apologize to everyone at home. It is Joseph Carter who got the return touchdown. So first down and 10 here for the Knights. Crespo, there is a flag on the play. So again, JoJo Carter with a touchdown here for the Knights after that huge kick return to make this a 7-14 game. So the coaches, they tell us the names, and that's what we go by here on Sterling TV 19. And we were told JoJo Carter, so that is what we're going to go by.
Obviously, we saw, apologies on that, saw a lot of penalties in the last game. A lot less, obviously, since the last game, but there are still a few. I don't know what this is, but I don't know who that penalty was against.
I think it was against Sterling. It might have been either a holding or a false start. I'm going to assume it was a holding, as that play was not whistled down immediately.
Is unfortunate, You want to play a clean game, obviously a foul every now and then. It's understandable, but you don't want to make it a habit, which can be how Sterling ends up kind of unfolding, as we've seen past couple of games.
So it's first and 15 at the 43. That was a false start called on the Knights. So the Knights looking to try and get back after having, some success in the the special team side of the ball, looking to try to boost their confidence on the offensive side of the ball. And now Crespo is coming back in for the Knights as well.
First and 15 is a tough situation, but it's better than the third and 15 that Gateway had to deal with prior. Hopefully, they can get something better going on here for their side of the ball.
Not quite sure. I don't know if they're. See referees talking to each other.
I think they're trying to determine the placement of the ball.
I was going to say ball placement, but.
So the whistle blows, and getting some flashbacks from last week is Mr. K in the truck as he tells us to try and figure out what's going on. But Crespo takes the snap, gives it to Lewis. Lewis gets to the outside. A nice run by Lewis as he keeps going, and that gets a lot of yards back for the Knights. A big run from Terrell Lewis. Sterling with a second and manageable now.
You have runs that hit the hole very quickly. This is one where Lewis started out deep in the backfield, and that's just a great job of him, not only finding a hole, but the offensive line holding their blocks for as long as they did. They're really doing a good job up front. We've seen that in the past couple drives.
That is the impact that a good set of blockers has on a run game. You've got bad blockers, you don't have a run game.
So a nice block on the outside gives Terrell Lewis a big run up the middle, and that'll be a first down for your Silver Knights. There was a really nice pull guard, and it looked like that was number 64, A.J. Panarello, with a big block on the outside, and we can take a look at number 64 cruising his way to the outside. A big block giving Terrell Lewis a big hole.
And you could have two setups and formations with the back, one lined up close, one lined up far away. If it's closer, obviously, you get to the hole quicker. Far away takes longer time, but it gives the ball carrier time to read what's happening in front of him and adjust. And Lewis is really doing a good job of that.
So Crespo gives it off. Bit of a trouble with the snap. Disrupted the timing, and Lewis gets tackled for loss.
Yeah, and that's the downside of lining up deep. You know, if there's any type of miscue, you give, it looks like there's a
false start
right there. Any type of a miscue, you give the defensive line time to get in there, get penetration, and make a play.
So a false start called on the Sterling Knights. Not sure who it was on in particular, but nevertheless.
Might have been the guy on motion there. I think it was number 14, who we don't.
No, it was number 44. It was Will Nicholas, who plays defensive end and tight end. So it'll be a 2nd down and 13 on the 45-yard line here for the Knights. Crespo in the shotgun with Lewis behind him. Calls a motion. Hernandez in motion. Gives it off to Lewis. Lewis has some room to run with great blockers. Gets to the outside and a nice run to chew up some of those yards as it becomes a 3rd down here for the Silver Knights.
Yeah, and that's a real good run. I mean, it's not 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, but it's 3rd and manageable, and that's all you can ask for right now. And we're getting close to 4-down territory, so that's a real good job there on 2nd down.
It's a 5-yard gain to round the outside run, but you know, my favorite thing to say when it comes to football, yards are yards. You got to use them as you have them. If you're going to take yards for granted, you won't be able to take advantage of the position you have of a good game like that. You'd rather have 3rd and 8 than say you go back 3 more yards or at 3rd and 16. It's a huge differential some people don't recognize.
So Crespo in the shotgun. Fakes the handoff, but it gets fumbled, and Sterling quickly on top of it, but it creeps out again. And it looks like Sterling may have maintained possession, but we're not sure. And it looks like it's being signaled to the Gateway Gators. So the Gateway Gators received that fumble. We're going to take a look at this replay, figure out what happened in that scrum. In the end,
it just looked like on the handoff they bumped into each other, and it was just an unforced error here. You look right here, it just he was looking up, didn't realize the back was as close to him as he was, and the back knocked the ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
And 3rd fumble overall in the game, isn't it?
And the big man, number 59, Kevin Zagone, falls on top of it for the Gateway Gators. So now Gateway has it in some pretty good field position, and Sterling defense going to have to make another big stop here as they have most of this game. So a 1st and 10 here for the Gateway Gators. Ball placed around the 47. Pembroke in the shotgun. Takes the snap, gives it off, fakes the handoff, goes to the outside, and nice defense there by the Knights. Bink looking for a flag, isn't going to get one. And that's great defense there by number 11, Briley Curventus Sharp.
If you take a look here, I don't know what he's calling for a flag for. I mean, I see his argument, but I don't think there was much contact there other than just jump on jump. You're not going to be able to control the trajectory of that. There was no grabbing, no nothing while in the air. That felt, he went up for the ball, the defense went there, no PI called. Good reffing.
So a 2nd and 10 here for the Knights.
Good job defending there by Sharp also.
Pembroke takes the snap, gives it off to his running back. Nicholas fails to make the tackle and gets tackled from behind, but that gave him a good chunk of yards. Not sure if they're going to give him the 1st.
Yeah, this is a real good, you watch this play, good cutback here towards the middle. Kind of got Nichols, who was there to make the play, but again, you're looking at a kid in bravado that you really have to break down on. This whole cutback and make you miss.
Really the story of the game for the Knights. Breaking down on these really speedy and shifty running backs, as that was a 1st down for the Gateway Gators as they're progressing up the field. Sterling's defense really got to reel it in. Pembroke gives it off. And what a run. But a big hit there from that
Carter
Sterling
again.
defense. That's JoJo Carter. A great run from Barbado. And it gives a very, very second and short.
Well, that's that deep handoff that we see Sterling give to Lewis. You give the ball to Barbato on Gateway, kind of doing the same type of thing where you're able to evaluate and read what's in front of you. And Barbato really has a quick first step and gets up there.
A lot of running backs got a nice cut, but Barbato's cutting through butter with a hot knife here these past couple of plays. Plants the foot, moves, and has green grass ahead of him. It's rough as a defender to predict stuff like that if you're not ready.
So good timing on the outside by Davis. Causes a fumble, and Sterling may have gotten on top of it. It would be big if they did. Waiting for the signal. And it looks like the Knights have the ball. A big turnover against the Gateway Gators. And now Sterling gets their possession back.
Yeah.
Big turnover. So, Mr. Schulz, this really looked like almost a forward pass here, but that's not the right play. As it is a first down for the Silver Knights, nevertheless. So we're going to take a look at it here. And that definitely did look like a forward pass. So
here's what I'm thinking about that. I don't know if that was a forward pass or kind of just he was, desperation. Maybe got hit on the arm a little bit, but it's hard to tell from that angle there.
So we got a false start here against the Knights. So we're going to take a look at that play here and get our, analyst, Mr. Schulz, in here on the fun.
Okay, we're going to take a look at this. I stepped away, missed the first one. Yeah, that is forward underhand. And you could see he had his right foot past the line, the quarterback did, and threw it kind of to the front of that line. So
Definitely looked like one, yeah. So if you missed it, there was a forced fumble caused by the Knights defense. And really, defense and special teams have been the story of this game so far for both of these squads. And they're really trying to reel in both of their offenses here, as there's been a lot of mistakes on both sides of the ball. So Crespo lining up with the shotgun, motions Nicholas over. Crespo gives it to his halfback, Hernandez. Hernandez has a hole. A flag is on the play. Ball is out.
Yeah, I think he was down.
And it looked like he was down. Refs are saying he's down.
That's the right call.
I do agree with that. Nevertheless, there is a flag on the play. Hernandez was extending. The call is on the offense. So we're going to take another look. Yeah.
Yep, he's clearly down.
Knee was definitely down. But nevertheless, there is a flag on the offense. It's still a first down, but a first down in almost forever, it seems, for this Sterling offense. And they're going to really have to piece something together to try and get back where they were before, as the clock is ticking with about 1 minute and 38 seconds left in this second quarter. So Crespo in the shotgun. Two receivers to his left and right, and Hernandez behind him. Crespo motions. Gets the pass. Gives it off to Sale. Sale has some room. Gets a couple of yards back here for the Knights. Gets out of bounds, so it stops the clock with 1 minute and 18 left.
Yeah, I like the way Crespo went to his left, threw the ball, got rid of it quick, put it where his receiver could get it down low. Didn't throw it up high, didn't throw it behind him where it could get tipped. And just like that, you could have 6 going the other way.
Excuse me, that was Taheem.
Good job of execution by Crespo.
That was Taheem Sally on that reception and yards after catch. So it's 2nd and 15 at the 31-yard line.
And a nice grab by Sally. Those low passes sometimes, you're reaching down. They're not always easy to get. He got it and hauled it in.
With 1 minute and 18 left in this second quarter. Sterling looking to strike one more time before this half ends. Crespo in the shotgun has Nicholas next to him and Terrell Lewis behind him. Lewis motioned, hands it off to Nicholas. And that play gets stuffed on the line. So Sterling looking at a third down.
Now, here's what I'll say. Obviously, the run has been, I'm pretty sure it looks like a run-pass option there with a possible screen on the side. If I'm Crespo, obviously it's a game-time decision, no matter what, it's quick decisions you have to make. But if I'm him, I feel like I'm making the decision to throw to the sideline. Feels like that would be the bit of the better diversion because they've been so used to the run, they're seeing it all the time.
Yeah, I think what they're figuring is, hey, if we can get it somehow to the 50-yard line, then we'll shoot for something big. But the big thing you worry about here with a minute left or around there, you've got to watch out for the mistake and the ball going the other way and being down by 2 scores.
So the sun dawns, and the lights are starting to come out here on this Friday night. Thank you all for joining us here. I'm Daniel Leakin, joined by Kevin Schulz and Max Zubak, and this makes me almost feel like I'm in The Lion King with this beautiful sunset.
Great shot. Great shot.
They ruined it with the live-action CG remake.
Yeah, they did.
Broadway's good, though.
So we're hoping Sterling can really capture the magic of that sunset in this last drive here. 3rd and 16, so they're going to need a big play down the field. And you know, Schulz, we saw something in the first game against Bishop Eustace that really worked for the Knights. Maybe try some type of screen pass here against this Gateway defense.
Yeah, I think if you do anything from a passing standpoint, it's got to be something safe. And because, again, you don't want to go into the half at this point being down by 2 scores.
So Crespo under center. Lewis behind him. Everyone on the line except for 3. Gives the ball to Lewis. Lewis tries to take the outside, tries to put a move in. A big hit. That's number 2, DJ Bink.
And I think a lot of you guys, like what you guys are bringing up, are very good points that I think would work. You know, Crespo's only been at the helm for a couple games, but if you had a veteran quarterback, a kid who has 2-3 years experience, you might take a little bit more of a chance, but I just don't think they're going to do that with him right before this half.
And Bink with what a big hit this was. Great tackle on Lewis. And a timeout is taken by the Gators. It's their 2nd timeout of the half.
1 minute, 4 seconds remaining.
But to what you're saying, Max, about, I mean, as we move forward in this game, I feel like either Giles and Arnett could play a big part in this game. I know we saw Arnett as a back, but he's a kid you could line up in the slot, outside, and I just like him to win that one-on-one battle if you throw it up there with him and a defender.
He's got the
Giles as
athleticism.
well.
He has the athleticism. Both of them do. You got to take advantage of things like that because those are the advantages that beat out teams like Gateway who might not have an answer to things like that. Just in height department against Giles and in speed department against Arnett, there are things that obviously this Gateway defense is better at than Sterling's offense and vice versa, but Sterling needs to find the one pocket they can continue to just hammer in on, and maybe it's points after points after points once you find that weakness.
Well, Sterling, a really, run the rock dominant team, but this Gateway defensive line doing a great job of pairing against them. And Sterling and Gateway also has some linebackers that play really close to the line as well. As a bad snap, Giles kind of pops the ball up towards the 50. That one's going to trickle out of bounds at around the 40. They're going to mark it officially at the 42. So Gateway with some pretty good field position with them 57 seconds left in this second half, or excuse me, in this first half, second quarter. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Gators, 57 seconds remaining.
Now, if you're Gateway, you're going in, you got one timeout. Are you trying to maybe, I don't know about, make the clock as low as you can, but are you really just hoping the run carries you to keep this 7-point lead? Because they've had some issues with fumbles. Maybe it's better to just pass, see if the running back won't make any mistakes here.
I think you might see a couple runs here, and I'm going to say the same thing about Sterling's approach. Gateway's got a younger quarterback. Hey, you get it a little bit past midfield, then I'll shoot for something. But at the same time, on Gateway's end, you don't want Sterling to come up with a big play, go the other way, and have the game tied going into half.
Pembroke doing a good job of slinging the rock this far. Tries to get Bink on a route, and nice defense there by Nolan Giles. Does it on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Plays great defense against Bink.
And see, I was wrong. Now they're going to go up top right there, and it's just a matter of your preference. And good job there defensively by Nolan Giles.
Nolan Giles
right with him.
Has the athleticism, and a nice shot there on the sidelines. That's Douglas Bennett giving us a great camera shot.
And just like, we've talked at length about Nolan Giles in a one-on-one situation, the offensive side of the ball at the wide receiver position, you counter that and you like him also as a defender. Not only getting up after it, but staying with the receiver step for step. A pretty speedy kid out there, too.
good on the sides of the field, no matter where it is. It's great to see.
So a run to the outside. Looked like a bit of a jet sweep. And with some room, that's a great run there by Jacob Finger, who has a receiving touchdown in this game so far. So it looks like a timeout is called here. So a jet sweep to Finger. Finger does get the edge after he breaks Camacho's tackle. And it will be 3rd down and 2 with about 40 seconds remaining in this second quarter.
Honestly, if I'm Gateway, just go into the half, maybe even just kneel out the half. At this point, keep that lead because it's the momentum you need. If Sterling's got momentum like we saw last week going into the half.
And if you're Sterling, you've got to keep everybody in front of you at this point. So, because you never know what can happen.
So thank you all for joining us here with about 40 seconds left in the second quarter. I'm Daniel Leakin, joined by my man Kevin Schulz, and over there, that's Max Zubak here tonight for these Friday Night Lights. And I mean, what a great feeling this game has been so far, and very back and forth. These two teams have went really on the defensive side of the ball, though. Both offenses kind of at a stale at the moment.
Yeah, and I think one thing you're seeing from both teams on the opposite side of the ball is unforced errors, mistakes, drop balls, missed, muffs on handoffs, and that's going to happen when you have younger, inexperienced players playing back there.
Experience, well, obviously something you need to gain. Once you have it, it's what gives you an advantage over so many people, especially in high school football, who just haven't had enough years under their belt to make stuff work like the vets can.
And a nice curl route on the outside. That's Dylan Cruette. A nice throw there by Pembroke. Gives Gateway the first down. And a great job to have a heads up and get out of bounds there.
And that's a ball you can't loop to the outside because that could spell disaster. And Pembroke did a good job setting his feet, firing it right to the receiver. And they might, you're looking at them possibly taking a shot here.
Yeah. Pembroke does have an arm. We saw it on display with a pass to Bink that got broken up, by Giles. So Pembroke in the shotgun. Nice timing on the outside by Davis. Can't get there. Pembroke hits another curl route and safely out of bounds goes Bink. So 31 seconds left in the second quarter, and Gateway doing a great job of managing the clock.
Yeah, they are. But Sterling right now, this is what you want to keep. The most important thing is keeping everybody in front of you. You'll give up these plays, but obviously you don't want to give up something long. Now, and the one thing you might want to watch for, but then that's why you want them to stay back, is the quick pump fake to the outside and have them go deep. So that's something that I wouldn't rule out Gateway doing.
So Pembroke in the shotgun once again. Defensive line doing a great job getting pressure. Pembroke looking deep and great coverage on the outside. That's another great job there by Briley Curvatus Sharp.
Yeah, Sharp's really done a good job. I know he got beat, he was the one that got beat initially on that one touchdown, but he's got good coverage there on the go route. And they also, after the touchdown, did a slant underneath, thinking he would be thinking long, and they could get him underneath and made a nice stop there. So, this is a young kid that's really improving within this game. You like to see that.
What I didn't like, though, it looked like a not called PI. I understand it's a little close, but it felt like there might have been some shove in there before the ball, and hopefully that's not the case because it would be, the bad call for the refs to hang their hats on. But, it happens sometimes.
And I think the ball was deemed uncatchable as pressure set again by the Knights. Curvatus out there. Great defense again. Curvatus Sharp with 2 big plays in this drive. And that forces a 4th and 6 to the Gateway Gators.
I think the reason that last play was called uncatchable is because Curvatus was there to defend it. He has been locked down this whole first half.
Yeah, that's a real good play, and it's really good to see a younger player, 10th grader, really making some nice stops, doing what he has to do, and we talked about improving within a game.
So with 19 seconds left, it looks like Pembroke in the off. Oh, no, excuse me. They are going to punt it. But there was a fake earlier in this game, so Sterling has to be ready for that. And they're looking for the fake again. Bink looking deep, and Sterling is all over it. A great throw from Bink to Finger. Finger couldn't get the hands on it because Sterling read that like a book. And this is going to change possession. So Sterling, with about 13 seconds left, has to find a way to get down the field as quick as they can and try and get themselves in field goal position.
It was good sportsmanship after that by JoJo Carter, picking up the failed reception. Man on it if you take a look here. Obviously, like you said, you never know. These guys are trying to be magicians out on the field, kind of mind freaky as a defender, but he just can't get it there. And, obviously it's double coverage. What are you going to do?
And how impressive is that throw with 2 gloves from Bink?
Well, 2 things I like about the play. You give the ball to Bink. If somehow, there's disaster and he gets the ball batted away from you, he could chase somebody down. He's got the speed to go get somebody. And on the other hand, Dan, you just mentioned it. Kid's got a pretty good arm.
Oh, yeah.
You give yourself a shot, throwing it downfield, and, your receiver might haul it in.
So Sterling is going to kneel this one out, and that's going to drain the end of this first half. So back and forth we go. Gateway to Sterling. It's going to be a 14-7 lead as the clock trickles down. We'll be back, joined by Addison Bazulis for the third and fourth quarter. So we'll be right back after this commercial break. Gateway leads 14-7 over the Sterling Silver Knights.
Hey Liv, what's up? Hey Maddie. Why are you wearing Crocs? They're so comfortable, you should really get a pair. Maddie, take them off, they're so ugly.
Three days later.
Hi. Hey. You're wearing Crocs? You're wearing sneakers? I thought you said those were ugly. Well, I guess they are kind of comfy.
Do you want these? You definitely want these, right?
I really think you want these cookies.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
No. No. No.
he taken? Yes, it is.
Well, what about this one?
This one's taken too.
What about this one?
They're all taken.
Well, where am I supposed to sit?
Not with us. Go sit over there.
Johnny's shorts on Thursday?
Oh my god, I know, it was disgusting.
Wait, guys, what cup are you on, Riley? I think she's on her 12th.
Well, here's 13.
I don't think I can do it.
No, you have to do it. No, you have to do it.
Okay.
All right, chug,
Okay.
chug, 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 chug.
guys. I don't feel so good. I don't feel so good.
Is she okay? What are we gonna do now?
We need to call for help.
No, we're gonna get in trouble. We can't do that.
Dude, are you kidding? Pictures. Sean, what are you doing? Go to Redmond's office.
Oh my god, what a loser. He's so annoying.
Looking at the story, you'll know by the story the first few lines. We're talking about that paragraph again in the story.
You know what? I'm done. That's it, teach. I quit. I'm done! You know what? I'm gonna stay in school.
Suicide is no joke. On average, one person commits suicide every 16 minutes. It's the 10th leading cause of death in America. It's also the 3rd leading cause of death for teens and adults ages 15 to 24. Depression is the leading cause of suicide. About 2/3 of people who commit suicide are depressed. Each suicide affects at least 6 other people. If you think someone is considering suicide, don't leave the person alone. Talk to them. Contact a teacher, a parent, a counselor, a coach, or a friend.
Speak up. You might save a life. It might even be my life.
Speak up. Save a life. Prevent suicide.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sterling TV 19 as we are back with some second half action here between the Gateway Gators and your Sterling Silver Knights. Gateway leading 14-7, but definitely no short of action as we're going to take a look at both of these touchdowns here from both squads. The first, the Gateway Gators. So Gateway got a little trickery where Bink found Finger on this post route. Finger makes a great catch and put Gateway up on the board to start.
You really got to like the way Finger adjusted on that one.
Definitely was a great adjustment from Finger. And we're going to take a look at Sterling's touchdown as well, scored by JoJo Carter. Carter got an open seam, and when he was at the 50, we knew he was gone, and JoJo Carter got the Knights on the board as well to make this game 7-7.
Made that initial cut and then just turned on the afterburners, and he was gone, showing great speed. But again, I like the fact that he didn't go left or right. He went right to the middle, hit the hole, and just took it to that second gear, and nobody was even close to him.
So welcome back, everyone. I'm Daniel Leakin, joined by Kevin Schulz, and now Addison Bazulis on the broadcast as well. Addison, how's it going?
It's good. I'm definitely glad to be back. Sterling is doing actually really good. And so is Gateway. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, it's been a very back and forth game. Addison, this is her second broadcast, doing a great job, and definitely going to be on here more consistently as Max Zubak took a break, but he is in the broadcast room as well, working on stuff on his computer. So we are back here with second half action. Both teams getting ready to start this one up. Sterling looking for a come behind win, and Gateway looking to prevent Sterling from getting any traction.
Yeah, I agree with you, Addison. It's definitely a good back and forth matchup. There's been times where Sterling was winning the field position battle and they had Gateway back on their heels, and then there's been other times where you felt like Gateway had the momentum in the game. But I think both teams, when they're facing a little bit of adversity, are just playing for the next play. They're not getting down, they're picking each other up, and that's something you like to see in two programs that are really trying to build a culture.
It's been a very back and forth game, and it's definitely been an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, some mistakes, but at the same time, you're going to see that from younger teams. But also, some real nice plays by the younger guys. We saw Carter with the run back for the touchdown, and a couple real nice plays by Finger on the Gateway side of the ball. So a lot to look forward to, I think, from both teams, and it should be an exciting second half.
And it was no short of an exciting first half as well. Between the kick return touchdown and, the Finger touchdown, it was very fun to watch here in the broadcast booth. One of the more fun games we've seen so far here at Sterling TV 19. Sterling going to receive the ball to start this second half. They have three back there. Looks like a Zion Arnett, Taheem Sale, and it looks like JoJo Carter, who got a kick return touchdown earlier in the game.
Gators, they kick the second half kickoff.
So it looks like the kick is off. Looks like a squib kick. Sterling has trouble fielding it, but a nice recovery by the Knights. Looks like number 18, Jaden Williams, fell on that one as quick as he could. So Knights starting with some good field positioning in this second half.
And not a surprise, because you've been seeing this, and good job by Sterling. Nobody was standing around. Even though they missed that initially, they were trying to get the ball initially. So they had the right intent, just weren't able to get their hands on it. And again, I think that's something they're learning, because they were back on their heels and just looking at the ball on a couple of those short kicks in the first half.
So Crespo runs on. We saw a drive with Julian Johnson later in the first half, excuse me. But now it's the Crespo show at the moment. So Crespo looking to get something going for the Sterling offense. Sterling kind of been at a lull for most of this game. Crespo lines up under center. That's Terrell Lewis behind. Terrell Lewis bobbles the snap again. Ball is out. But it looks like Sterling still recovers, as there was a bit of a miscommunication from Crespo to Lewis. So Sterling loses a couple yards.
Yeah, it looked like they pulled the guard and the tackle, but obviously not going anywhere with another unforced error. And like we said, that's these guys are guys who haven't played together for a long period of time. So stuff like that's going to happen, and it's been happening to both teams.
Excuse me, that wasn't Terrell Lewis. That was number 17, Amari Key, a transfer who was here his freshman year, transferred out his sophomore year, but came back this year. His primary sport is basketball with Zion Arnett and Julian Johnson, but playing football as well. As there's a run from Josh Hernandez, gets quickly blown up by that defensive line. Just a little score update. The boys soccer tied, I think it was Pemberton. It was a 1-1 tie, Cumberland, that one's on me. The Cumberland tied 1-1, goal scored by sophomore Connor Maynor. Definitely big because Sterling had a few people out due to injury, including Max Bleem and Bright John. So an important tie for the Knights as they're looking to face Triton in their senior game on Monday, and they're looking to face a very, very good Cinnaminson team on Thursday. So Sterling looking at a 3rd and 9. Crespo under center. Lewis in motion. Crespo hands it off to Sale. Sale takes the outside. Sale with a big burst of speed. Gets to around the 50, so Sterling faced with the 4th down.
And that's Taheem Sale. He got the ball deep. A little bit almost mishandled the pitch, but once he got going, he saw that hole and got up there and got himself a little bit of a gain. Not a bad gain there. Not a bad run.
And even with the bobble, and Schulz, we mentioned it before, the bobble is kind of causing, the pressure to get around Crespo and these running backs pretty sooner than they normally would.
Yeah, if you have to hold up just for a split second, it makes a world of difference for defenders coming up on a play.
So a little bit of motion on this kick here. Giles ready to kick it, but a timeout is called by Coach Wiggins. Didn't like what he saw out there.
Now, I think they were originally possibly going for maybe a fake midfield, but
our next TV game will be Thursday, September 26th, soccer. It'll be Sterling versus Cinnamons, and as I mentioned previously, a huge game for the Knights to try and get back on track live on Channel 19 and YouTube.com/SterlingTV19. So definitely a rough drive to open up this second half for Sterling, and I mean, that's one you got to capitalize on.
Yeah, no question about it. And one thing I'm seeing from we're talking about Cinnamon soccer, from Gateway is some good penetration into the backfield, and you're cutting off the guards from pulling, and they're really not able to get to where they need to get to.
So we got a quick trivia question here. Before Gateway was built, what high school did those students attend? Mr. Schulz.
Woodbury.
Woodbury is the answer up here in the broadcast booth. I'm not going to even try and argue Addison.
Me neither.
Yeah. So we're looking at a 4th and 5 here. It's a trickery play here. Sally going towards the outside. Sally trying to get the edge. Gets a stiff arm. It gets the first down. What a big run from Sally. Does a great job of finding the open hole. Gives Sterling a boost of momentum on that big 4th and 5.
Well, Gateway put themselves in position to make the play, but that's just all 100% an incredible individual effort by Tahim Sally to get that first down, and a big first down at that early on here in the second half.
Sally doing a great job, and definitely some trickery, even faked out our drone camera operator, Johnny Orlino. But way to move Tahim Sally and set Sterling up with the 1st and 10 into Gateway's offensive zone. Gets it over towards Lewis. Lewis finds a hole, does a great job of cutting back and getting a couple of yards there for the Knights as they make it a 2nd and around 6. So Lewis doing a great job there, and hopefully we figure out the answer to that trivia question soon, because I'm also wondering if it was Woodbury or not. But I don't think I'm going to question the New Jersey mastermind that is Kevin Schulz, and that is the answer. Woodbury's the answer. Kevin Schulz doing a great job here with our trivia facts up here.
That wasn't a hard one. I think I feel like a lot of people would, older people like me.
I was about to say, I'm not sure
Yeah.
Addison and I would have figured that one out.
It's an older person.
As there's a fumbled snap here from Crespo. Crespo falls on top of it quickly. Big loss of downs for the Knights, and that's something you don't want to see after that big play from Tahim Sally.
Yeah, another unforced error here, and that's really been hurting Sterling. There's no question about it.
So they're faced with a 3rd and long, trying to capitalize on this Gateway defense. Hasn't had much success so far. Crespo in the huddle. Definitely have to do something here, try and get some momentum on their side to start in the second half, being down by a touchdown. So Crespo lines up in the shotgun. Hernandez in motion. Crespo shrugs the shoulders. He's ready in the shotgun. And a timeout is called from Sterling. So that's their 2nd timeout in very early stages of this 3rd quarter, and Coach Wiggins is not happy about that one. So we're looking at another trivia question. What year did Gateway High open? And we're going to send this one to our good friends, Mr. Schulz, as well.
All right, I'm going to. This one I'm not too sure of, but do you want me to give the guess now or wait?
Yes,
or,
no, give the guess now. Yeah.
I'm going to say Gateway opened in 1971.
I'm going to agree with you because I honestly have no idea.
I'm going to go Gateway opened in 1967.
You were close. You were closer than me.
big educated guess from me almost pays off there. I was 3 years off. I guess my dad's birth year, and kind of just went with that because he's old, and I guess this was an old question. And
oh man, tell us old.
I am calling you guys.
Can we ask them what year Sterling opened, Mr. K? Can we throw that out there? Is that stealing one of your? What year did Sterling open?
Addison.
Oh, maybe like 18 something.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Schulz and Tad aren't that old as Sally takes another run, doing a great job of hurling over a few defenders and gets hit or tackled at the 15. Taheem Sally, what a drive for the young man as he picks up a big first down for the Knights.
Yeah, you're seeing him make people miss, bouncing off people. Taheem Sally is really doing it in a lot of different ways here for Sterling.
Sally limping off, not the thing you want to see. The ref blows the whistle as they got to get a trainer on the field for Sally. But what a run nevertheless as we look at the replay here. Makes a bunch of men miss, as Schulz said, and gets hit out around the 14. What a play by the young man.
And Taheem Sally is clearly the guy right now. You know, they've gone back and forth between Sally and Lewis, and Sally's clearly the guy who's got the hot hand right now. And what you do there, you know, you throw a short, high percentage pass, but you put him in an area where he's got enough space where he can make things happen. And boy, I hope he's okay going down there being worked on.
Sally really bent his drive, this drive. And I mean, Addison, you can comment, I mean, using his elusiveness to really get into open space.
I know how he's very passionate about this sport, and he is definitely someone you should definitely focus on while you're watching this.
Yeah, and the passion is really evident by the way he runs and really plays hard right to the end. You see him, he's delivering a little bit of punishment on his own. You know,
wow.
One of those backs where he's not just going to take a hit, he's going to give a hit, and because of that, you see him getting a few extra yards as he's going down.
And it's extra impressive because Sally isn't one of those bigger guys.
No.
He's a smaller guy. So it's impressive to see that he's fearless and able to use the body. As Sterling looking at a 1st and 10 here, man in motion, Arnett drops the snap. It bobbles its way, and it looks like Gateway has recovered. A tough break here for the Knights. Gateway recovers the football after that big play from Sally.
Yeah, this is obviously, you know, it's going to happen. First-time player, head was up, and really he looked and just took his eye off the ball for a split second, and just an unfortunate error that is going to happen when you're learning the game, you know, within season right here.
It's definitely a big mistake. The Knights were not ready to give up. And that is a brutal blow for the Silver Knights offense, as they were really doing a great job of coming down the field, converting on a 4th and 5 and a 3rd and 15.
You know, in a game that's really lacked consistent drives from Sterling's side of the ball, that was one that was really chewing up some yards and going a long way and wearing down the Gateway defense. So, you know, just an unfortunate thing there.
So the Sterling defense does a great job of swallowing up Barbado, only giving him around a yard. As on a more positive note, Schulz, this defensive line for the Silver Knights has really done a remarkable job.
Yeah, and I think right now the goal of the defense, and especially up front, is to gain penetration and maintain this field position advantage that you have right now.
So the Silver Knights looking to play some impactful defense as Gateway is deep on their side of the field. A big tackle missed by Camacho, but still Barbado doesn't go anywhere because of the big force on that defensive line. The whistle's not blown yet, but he does get tackled down, and Gateway is faced with a 3rd and long.
And that's a great call right there. You went with the blitz to Camacho, right to the right hole, got in there, got to the ball carrier, but made him spin away.
Camacho,
but there's a host of defenders there to make the play.
Camacho very skilled, but I think that's one tackle. And if he even came up with that one, that would have been big for the Silver Knights. Not only on the defensive front, but just for a momentum swing. So Pembroke faced with a 3rd and 7. Is Gateway trying to get the offense going in this second half, their first drive of the second half. Pembroke takes a low snap, goes towards the outside, and an incomplete pass, and it looked like the receiver slipped. So that brings up a 4th down, and Sterling defense stands strong, causing a 3 and out.
Yeah, and I think the key here was, you know, they put decent pressure, but all the pressure they've been putting on Pembroke throughout the game made him think he was going to get more than he got, and kind of got rid of the ball too quick. Really didn't set his feet, and I think the throw was affected by that. And this is a great job by the defense, Addison. They really have to feel good about what they're doing here.
They're doing a really good job tonight.
So Sterling has to watch out for the fake. It looks like it is the fake. Oh, no, it did bump it away. It looked like he ran for a minute. And Sterling can let this one trickle out of bounds at a little bit above the 50. Our vantage point was a little blocked for a second there because of the window and some people standing in my line of vision when I look out the door.
Well, in spite of the tough turnover, you still have the ball right at midfield, a little bit into Gateway territory. And Danny, you put the challenge forth that the defense needed to make a stop, and they really came up big right there and forcing the punt and putting the ball back in an offense's hands that was really moving the ball for a period of time.
And well, you know, Schul's defense can put offense in such good predicaments when they get those big stops. And I mean, Max Zubak mentioned earlier something about the defense not sending blitzes. The Eagles' defense didn't put Jalen Hurts in a position to win. This is where you do put your quarterback in a position when making these big stops. And now Crespo has a little bit of breathing room now, still only being down by a score. So Crespo gives it to his running back. Lewis on the outside. Lewis cutting through the middle. Lewis doing a great job there. Getting Sterling around 9 yards. May just be a tad bit short of that first down, but it looks like there is a flag on the play. It looks like a false start being called on the offense. And Schulz, we talked about this last game. It's really weird that when there's no false start, they call the play dead. Or when there is a false start, they don't call it dead. I don't know why they don't do that here.
Right away, yeah. I'm not sure about that. I know, obviously, on the other side of the ball, if you get an offsides, you can
play. You get a free play.
You get a free play, yeah. You just, and yeah, this is a game where Sterling's really been plagued by the penalties. We've talked about the different turnovers, the unforced turnovers, and I think in every game you go into, you talk to coaches, that's the one big thing they say at whatever level, whatever game you're talking about, is turnovers and penalties really can come back to haunt you.
So Crespo lines up, gets a snap, gives it out to Lewis. Lewis cuts through the middle. Lewis doing a great job. Lewis gets met by a secondary and pushes through and gets to the same spot as he did with that shorter run, but now with about a 14-yard run gets him a little bit short of that first down.
Yeah, and I almost think that when you look at Lewis, they're thinking, boy, he's going to take it out to the outside. The defenders were heading out that way, and he did a great job seeing that opening, cutting against the grain, cutting upfield. That's a real nice run by Terrell Lewis.
So it looks like it brings up 2nd down and 2. That run was a 13-yard run on 1st and 15. Lewis does a great job of cutting back and finding the open seams. And now Crespo in the shotgun. Gets it over towards Lewis. Lewis gets blown up in that backfield. Stays up. Has to keep going forward, but gets blown up. And a major loss of downs. The original pressure being brought by number 70, John Morris. And that's a major loss there for that Silver Knights offense.
Yeah, it looked like Moore shot the gap right there. And this is a Gateway defense that, you know, is really getting worn down. And they're looking to take some chances. And they did it right there and guessed right and got penetration and were able to make a play.
Well, it almost looked like Panarello almost missed his pulling block. And it looked like Morris kind of had a free run to Lewis. I mean, credit to Lewis for staying on his feet and not taking that tackle immediately, but it gave them a bigger loss of yards. So now Sterling faced with a 3rd and 8, having some ground to make up. Crespo in the shotgun, 2 men to his left and right, and Hernandez in the backfield. Sally, the man in motion. Crespo looking towards Sally, looking towards middle of the field, and Terrell Lewis dropped the pass. So now this faces Sterling with a 4th and 8.
Yeah, that's a good. You see Crespo going to his left, put a lot on that, put it right there. Just Lewis just wasn't able to haul it in, but boy, that's a nice job by Crespo, rolling out on the run and throwing a dart right there.
So it is 4th down. Silver Knights looking to go for it here. Crespo talking with Coach Carter and Coach Mullen. Gets the call from Coach Carter, so he runs back into the huddle. So a big 4th and 8 here for the Silver Knights as they're looking to try and get a score. They have to hustle to get this in. The clock winding down. Crespo under center. Hernandez in the backfield. The motion man, Jay Davis, gets it over to Hernandez. Hernandez with an outside run. Does not get enough yards, and a big stop there from the Gateway defense to turn this ball over.
Yeah, not converting on that pass play really hurt them because that would have kept the chains going. And Gateway, we were talking about Sterling coming up with stops and the defense doing what they need to do. This is a nice job by Gateway coming up with some plays, but obviously Sterling really also hurt themselves a lot in that drive.
Very interesting play call with a pitch out to your running back on 4th and 8. I think you'd want to try and get something in the air there, Schulze.
Yeah, but that's, the balls in the air have been few and far between. You saw one on the previous down with Crespo going to Lewis.
Here's the running back, Barbado, having a great game, doing a good job of, bobbing and weaving his way through this big Sterling defensive line. Picks up a few yards there to start this Gateway drive.
Yeah, and I think with their passing game, they're being conservative with it just because, you're seeing a lot of the mistakes in the handoffs in the running game, and you're talking about some players that don't have a ton of experience. Even some of the plays that the pass plays they're utilizing, you saw the one to Sally where it was just a real quick hitter, and you allowed him to use his running ability to make a play. I think the pass plays you're looking for and you want right now, I think you might see more as this season moves forward.
So a 2nd down and 6 here for Gateway. Looks like they do a jet sweep out to Finger. Finger has to make a move. There's a flag on the play. So Finger a little short of the 1st down. Nevertheless, there is a flag on the play. It is a holding on the offense. So that play is going to come back a couple yards. Gateway is going to have a 2nd down once again.
You see Finger right here moving laterally, almost got him with penetration in the backfield, but Sterling did a good job cutting things off and not giving him that seam right there where he can shoot upfield. He's a kid with a lot of speed. We've seen him break things open and get away from people, so that's a good job defensively by Sterling. And then you add the penalty onto it.
So a 2nd and 16 here for Gateway. Pembroke does a good job of slinging the rock here for the Gators, so it'll be interesting to see what the call is here. Pembroke in the shotgun. Gets ready. Gets a good snap. Gives it off to his running back, and that gets quickly blown up by that Sterling defensive line. Nowhere to go for Barbado, and now Gateway's faced with a 3rd and 16.
And, the way we were talking about Sterling, Danny, being conservative, one thing about Gateway, they're not afraid to go downfield. We saw it happen with a minute left. They tried to go up top, and I wouldn't be surprised right now if they tried to go up top. Really trying to go with that go route. That's where they had the one big touchdown. And, they like their chances when they have kids like Finger out on the outside in a one-on-one situation.
So with 3rd and 16 faces Gateway. The Gators looking to convert after causing a 4th down stop against the Knights. Pembroke steps back, looks deep, and a great catch, or a great almost catch, but definitely incomplete. So Sterling does a great job of forcing the incompletion. A nice throw from Pembroke along the sidelines, but to no avail. And now it's 4th down for the Gators.
Yeah, you had good one-on-one coverage with the corner. Then you had safety help coming over. So that's just a real good job of team defense by that secondary.
So not a lot of short passes for this Gateway offense, looking deep a lot of the time. It's probably one of their countless deep balls here, as they're going to look to punt this one away, but definitely have to be cautious of the fake. The Silver Knights have gotten caught with that once, almost twice. So Gateway looking to punt. They do punt it. A bit of a bobbler. Sterling has to kind of let that one go. And they do, so it trickles its way over to around the 43-yard line. So Sterling setting up shop in their end after going 4 downs and out, going out on 4 downs. So it got down at the 43 with 1:25 left in this 3rd quarter. No score in this 2nd half thus far.
And Addison, you have to like what the defense has been able to do on 2 consecutive series of downs for Gateway having the ball.
So it's been
like they not quite sure. A little trying to get the play in. I don't know if it's different personnel. Okay, there they go. They had to get somebody out there. There you see. That's
JoJo Carter.
Going out there.
Carter scoring the kick return touchdown for the Knights in this game. An amazing highlight was gone at the 50-yard line with green grass ahead of him. No white jerseys around him. As Crespo lines up in the shotgun. Hands it off to Lewis. Lewis, the quick run backer. Terrell Lewis gets to the outside, gets to around the 50. He does a great job of staying on his feet, getting Sterling around 7 yards.
And we've seen Terrell Lewis go laterally, then cut it upfield. This one, he went to that tackle hole and then just went upfield right away. You're seeing a good job consistently of that offensive line, just pushing the defensive line back. And really with all those bodies in there, it's negating the ability of the linebackers to flow over and make the play.
So a 2nd down and 3 here for the Silver Knights as the time ticks away in this 3rd quarter. Crespo in the shotgun. So it looks like a little confusion on the play. It's going to be a false start against the Silver Knights. So that backs them up 5 yards for a 2nd and 8.
Yeah, you can go laterally and reset, but you can't go straight forward and reset. And he just...
He went to go ask the ref if he was okay. The ref said he could move up, but I think you have to move up laterally. You can't just take a step forward pre-snap.
It was a little bit too late there.
Correct. So Hernandez gets caught on the false start. Crespo still in the shotgun. Looks like the same formation they were in a few seconds ago. Lewis up the middle, gets swarmed again. John Morris, and the ball comes out, and Gateway gets it. John Morris, the wrecking ball coming up the middle, gets a huge stop for Gateway, and now they have possession in Sterling's territory.
And I think this is a case, boy, give credit to Morris. He sensed that there was another defender right there and said, hey, he's not going anywhere. Let me try and strip the ball, and that's a big play by Morris for Gateway.
And yet another shot in the foot there for the Knights, and that's really been the story of this game so far.
Yeah. And Danny, I think I say it almost every broadcast. I don't think in high school football that players take advantage of that situation enough where if you're the 2nd man in, I don't care at what point it is in the game, try and strip the ball. And that's
probably Sterling's 3rd or 4th turnover of the game. Definitely something you don't want to see, as there's a big run there. Ferocious run there that looked like number 31, Lamar Smith. One of the more physical backs for this team, as there's a player down for Gateway that looks like number 70, John Morris, who just came up with that big turnover for the Gators.
Yeah, not only turnover, but a turnover in the Sterling end of the field. And we've talked at length about how important field position has been in this game. And right now, Gateway's ahead in that battle.
So 0-0 score on the scoreboard, 14-7, the Gators lead. We'll be right back at you after this commercial break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sterling TV 19 as we are back with some 4th quarter action. Sterling looking to be the comeback kids today as they are down by a score to the Gateway Gators, 14-7, as we get a beautiful drone shot of the castle by our one and only Johnny Orlino as we are back here live on Sterling TV 19. Sterling looking to reel this one back.
Mr. Farr just came up with a trivia question. Okay. What was the original name of Sterling High School? I thought it was always Sterling High School. Okay. I thought it was always Sterling High School.
I am not sure. I'm going to guess. We'll give our guess in 1 second. Snap's taken from Gateway, and it's blown up immediately in the linebackers. That's a great play on Barbado. Big tackle there from that linebacker unit. So, Schulz, I'm going to guess the Stratford Silver Knights. No, I'm wrong according to Kay. Kay, can you give us the answer, please? Wow, it was Central Camden County Regional.
How many did he know?
I was not going to guess that.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I didn't have that one.
So X going to give it to you. The band plays a new song they learned today, trying to rally the Sterling crowd and the Sterling team as there's another handoff to the halfback. Barbado getting the majority of the touches in this game, mixing in Lamar Smith as well, which brings Gateway to a third down.
Yeah, and I feel like at some point, this is a Gateway team that's not afraid to either at midfield or on their own side of the ball or on their own side of the field to go up top. And I would not be surprised if at one point during this series of downs, they don't try to go for the end zone, especially with that go route that they've had some success with.
Excuse me, it's a 2nd and 7, not a 3rd and 7. That's my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. So 2nd and 7 faces the Gateway Gators. Pembroke in the shotgun. Takes the snap, gives it off to his halfback. That's Smith. Lamar Smith trying to get the edge. Gets tackled down but rolls forward. We're going to see if he gets the first, and they can move the chains. So Smith doing a good job of really gaining yards for this Gateway offense. He may not have the majority of the touches, but Schulz, it feels like every time he gets his hands on the ball, it's been a positive outcome.
Yeah, and Sterling's had times where they got to the outside. That play, they really didn't get many defenders flowing out there. And when you don't have numbers, they have a couple people pulling, it makes it tough. It makes it easier for the back.
So Churchill and Boyd at the nose tackles as there is a QB sneak attempted and succeeded. And again, Pembroke, a bigger fella, so he's going to push forward to get those yards, and that's a great play by Gateway to give him that first down.
And probably only the second time we've seen Pembroke go with the run, but we talked about it the first time he did it, is that he's got great lower body strength, and you can see them right there pushing a host of tacklers ahead.
Very impressive run there by Pembroke. So Pembroke in the shotgun gives it off to his halfback and with some room to run. A nice big run there by Barbado puts Gateway in some big scoring potential.
Barbado, Finger, they're your two big play guys, and we've seen him bounce it out to the outside and really doing a good job squaring his shoulders up and getting upfield. And they're just chewing up the clock and putting themselves in position to get another one.
And a nice pull block play there by number 54, Nick Watts. Came around and put a nice block on a Sterling linebacker. So Gateway in scoring potential. Moving the ball down the field with ease so far. Pembroke goes under center. He has Barbado behind him. Pembroke under center. Sterling linebackers creep up. Gives it off Barbado, and it's blown up immediately. What a tackle by Mason Marvin. Creeps around the outside and wraps up Barbado for a loss of yards.
Yeah, and that was just Sterling. We've seen Sterling at certain times. Oh, that's a different replay there. Not sure if they blitzed.
So they did send.
Let's see.
Yes.
Yeah, they blitzed him. Okay. And you've been seeing that from Sterling. They don't want to stay back in their base defense. If they feel like their back's against the wall, they're not afraid to take a chance. And you gain penetration from Marvin there on the blitz. Good call defensively by Sterling.
So Pembroke ready to take this snap. Motions a man over. That's Finger. Finger gets to the outside. Finger finds a hole. Finger going towards the end zone, but gets tackled by the Knights to make this one 3rd down.
The Knights are going to be working very hard, especially in the last quarter, being down by 7. They're going to be working the hardest that they can.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Addison. This is where your conditioning really comes into play. And I think if you give any ball carrier that much room on the outside, they're going to make something happen, especially a kid like Finger with his ability to get upfield. Sterling right now just is not doing a good job flowing to the outside on the defensive side of the ball. And give credit to what you're seeing in the interior part of the line with getting a good push and not allowing the linebackers free lanes to get out there to the outside and make a play.
Speaking of the interior line, there's someone down on the field. That's number 54, Nick Watts. Here's another trivia question. What does the name Gateway stand for when naming the school? Schultz.
Oh, wow. Let me think.
Please, Schultz. You're our only hope here.
I'm the only
You're
hope.
only hope.
You're like the Batman.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank here. Yeah.
Case on us to take a guess. I have nothing. I guess the entryway to academic success.
I'm going to say the gateway between Woodbury and West Deptford. I don't know.
I was gonna say pretty much what Danny said. The gateway.
So we're going to come to the answer after this play, but more importantly, Sterling faced with the 3rd and goal. Pembroke looking to punch this one in here for Gateway to get a 2-score lead. This one goes out to Barbado. Barbado gets to the outside, cannot extend for the touchdown, and Sterling with a huge defensive stop, and Gateway has a big decision coming to them now.
Well, we talked about people coming up and making big plays, and boy, this was a big play by Hernandez, especially on a kid like Barbado, who's gotten it out to the outside and really done a lot of damage here. That's just a great individual effort by Hernandez.
So Barbado almost gets to the end zone. Interesting to see what Gateway does here. It's going to be a 4th and goal, and we're pretty sure we know what they're going to go with here. Pembroke under center. Sterling needs to clog the middle. Pembroke's going to try and sneak it. Pembroke does sneak it. He's going to push his way forward, and it's going to be a touchdown for the Gateway Gators. So Pembroke pushes it in, makes this a 20-7 game.
Pretty easy call here for the offensive coordinator with Pembroke right now. You're looking at this replay. You know, anytime he's needed a couple yards, only the 3rd time they've gone with that, but he's gotten it every time. And with the kid, with his size and his ability to get the lower body going ahead, a yard or half a yard isn't really that tough of a thing for him to get.
So Mason Boyd and Jake Churchill trying to clog up the middle, but to no avail, and Pembroke opens this game up for Gateway. And a fake here for Gateway. They pass out to the outside, and it's caught. What an amazing play by the Gators. The trickery has been the moral of the story for them in this game thus far. It's a 22-7 game.
Well, that was just fire. That was a bad snap, and right when they see that, you yell fire. Everybody knows to release, and good job by the end right there, releasing, getting where he needed to get to, and even better job by the holder under some pressure, getting rid of the ball and putting it on the money.
So to make that an uncoordinated play.
Or actually, I didn't realize the kicker grabbed it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that on the replay.
Kicker's number 4, Aiden Barbado, who's
it
been the
wasn't
running
a tight
back.
spiral, but it got to where it needed to get to.
So Barbado with the touchdown throw, the running back that we've seen in this game multiples of times, or excuse me, the 2-point throw to Colin Smith.
And Dan, that's just a case where you have your kicker be a guy who's used to having his hands on the ball and can adjust in a tough time right there and make something happen, and Barbado definitely did that.
So the trivia question that we mentioned before was, what does the name Gateway stand for when naming the school? I said the gateway to education. Shul said the gateway to
between Woodbury and West Deptford.
And Addison basically said the same thing I did, if I remember correctly. So the answer is the gateway of Gloucester County. Schulz, you were the closest out of all of us.
I was the closest, but I think your answer sounded better.
That sounds
sounded
like
more politically correct, I guess. I don't know.
That sounded like a Jared Claiborne slogan for Sterling High School. So nevertheless, Gateway leads 22-7. They fire a kickoff into this back line. Nolan Giles doesn't touch it, and it trickles out. So a nice kick there from Gateway. There's a penalty marker on the field.
And I know you guys were calling for them to throw the ball downfield, something we haven't seen to this point. And I was saying, I think that's something they'll work in their offense in the coming weeks. But right now, you're in a little bit of a desperate situation, being down by 2 scores. And you're going to have to go to getting the ball downfield, getting the ball in some of your playmakers' hands downfield. As we look at Zion Arnett, definitely a kid who has playmaking ability.
So it looks like Julian Johnson may be coming in here for the Knights. Crespo on the sideline, not looking like he's going into the game, and Julian Johnson is going to trot out. So the rest, the Sterling football schedule, September 28th, it is away against Gloucester Catholic. October 4th, it is away against the Collingswood Panthers. And October 11th, it is away against Clayton. So the Knights with a series of away games after having 2 straight home games. Maybe trying to get back on track at those places. So Johnson in the shotgun. Johnson came out for a series before, lost the ball for a forced fumble. The snap is fumbled. He falls on top of it, and Sterling gets a loss of yards.
Yeah, I think Gateway's well aware that you have a quarterback in there that doesn't have a lot of experience, and they want to put pressure on him right away, right from the get-go.
So Johnson, or actually a low snap, causes Johnson to lose that one. Sterling looked like they had a play drawn up, one of the first times we saw someone step back in this game. But a low snap causes Johnson to fall on top of it. So it's a 2nd down and 19. A major loss of yards here for the Knights. Johnson back in the shotgun, looking to make some magic happen here. So Johnson drops back, sets his feet, scrambles out. Johnson has some room, fires it over towards Nicholas. Nicholas has some room to run. Nicholas does a great job of gaining a lot of those yards back. Nicholas powering through, and a nice pass from Julian Johnson gets Sterling back for a 1st down contention on 3rd down.
Yeah, and I you know, when they had the fumble, went back for the touchdown, that was a glimpse of what you saw in the first part of the play. He was able to adjust and make something happen on that play, and then here again, he's able to do that, adjust in the pocket, and you know, that's just something you either have or you don't, and he has it. And you know, once he gets the fundamentals of this position down, you know, you could get some big things from Julian Johnson. That's a real nice play.
17 yards gained on the play here. It's a 3rd and 2. Crespo comes back into the game. Crespo goes under center. Looking to get this 1st down for the Knights. Crespo gives it off to Lewis. Lewis gets stuffed in the backfield, finds a hole off to the outside. Lewis does get the 1st down and more. Lewis trucking through, trying to get to midfield. Lewis with a big push from his offensive line. Lewis still going and gets tackled finally, but nevertheless, Sterling gets the 1st down. What a run by Terrell Lewis.
Yeah, you know, not a real big guy, but boy, he had probably the 3 or 4 guys on him, but kept the legs going and just moved some bigger guys back.
Terrell Lewis,
he's down
on the field after that huge run. Getting checked out by Gateway's coach, and Coach Wiggins also running over. So you can follow us on Twitter or X at Sterling TV 19, where you can see live updates from all the games and stuff happening around the castle. So make sure you go follow us on Twitter or X at Sterling TV 19.
Give you all the updates and everything that's happening.
Yeah.
Scores as you're in game.
Girls volleyball dropped a close one to Cherry Hill East, 2-1. Unfortunately today at the castle, Cherry Hill East, a very good team, coached by, I think it's Mr. Feeney. He is the head coach, Mr. Feeney, a teacher here at Sterling High School, as we take a look at the city of brotherly love, just across the way, about a 20-minute drive from here. The Phillies playing their game right now. I'm going to take a look at my phone, see if I can give you guys a live score update at the moment. A big win tonight gives them a ticket to the playoffs. It's currently 2-2 at the top of the fourth with 1 out. Men on second and third.
There's Mrs. Klink there helping out. Mr. Klink could not be here, so the wifey fills in for him.
Yeah.
She's the trainer at Stockton University. Been there for a long time.
So
doing a great job here with Sterling.
Yeah, so 2-2 the score. And currently, Johan Rojas just hit a 2-run double. So that makes the score 4-2 for the Phillies.
Good job.
As Johnson steps back with a long throw, looks down the field, and Zion Arnett cannot make the catch. But what a rocket from Julian Johnson trying to look for his partner in crime, Zion Arnett.
Well, Dan, that's what we said. You know, Strong hasn't gone up top a lot, but now they're kind of forced to.
Wow.
And that's a good try, man. You go with your athlete in a one-on-one situation. Let's take a look at this on the replay. And Johnson's really got the ability to get the ball downfield.
What a throw.
And you see Arnett right there. It was a little bit behind him, jumping up in the air. But, again, even if a kid like Arnett's covered, I'm still going to him with his ability to get up in the air, you know, using those basketball skills. Yeah, threw the ball, got it downfield. Maybe just a little bit behind Arnett, but at the same time, you know, you've got to do that right now when you're down. You got to look to go up top.
So Sterling taking some chances. Johnson steps back in the pocket, gets some pressure to the outside. Johnson steps forward, gets another throw downfield, trying to find an open receiver, and it's picked off by the Gateway Gators. That's number 2, DJ Bink. And Gateway in control with 4 minutes and 4 minutes and 34 seconds left in this fourth quarter.
Tried to go downfield again, and
not the same success.
Looked like they went there to Nolan Giles. First Arnett, then Giles.
And that is a dagger for this Sterling offense, who didn't have much success in this game overall. Sterling's defense doing a great job of trying to limit the Gateway offense, but at the end of the day, could not prevail over Pembroke, Bink, and Finger.
Yeah, and that's where Gateway was just had 2 men back, really didn't want to let anybody get in front of them, and did a good job and did what they had to on those 2 deep balls.
So handoff here for Gateway. Quickly blown up by the Sterling defensive line. So Gateway trying to shoot the clock out as much as they can. But again, as I mentioned before, Johan Rojas with a 2-run double. So the Phillies are up on the Mets 4-2. A win tonight would take them to the postseason for some Red October, which I feel is the most exciting time of the year.
No doubt about it. And you appreciate it more now when you didn't have, up until a couple years ago, you didn't have it for, 8, 10 years?
Got the call from Mr. Bain saying it's 4-2. So, big game here for the Phillies. Praying they win this time after a rough start from Taiwan yesterday, as a hole through the middle opens up, and Barbado is on the run. What a run from Barbado as he slides and takes the safe option to try and drill more clock. But Barbado found open field, and that's a big run for the Gateway Gators.
Now you're looking at a defense that's been out there a decent amount, and they've really been running here off to the right side a little bit, off the guard hole right there. And give credit, Barbados did a good job, but also give credit to that Gateway offensive line on that right side. They've really been pushing back the defensive line at Sterling.
So Pembroke, Barbado, and Smith doing a great job as that 3-headed running monster for this Gateway offense. Barbado getting the majority of the workload, Smith getting some great yards, and Pembroke using his power to power through on those short downs. And it's really been this dagger for the Knights in this game. So Pembroke in the shotgun, Barbado behind him. Barbado gets the ball, gets attacked off the edge. Barbado cuts through the middle. Barbado with a big run. Drills more clock off after a tackle is made by number 0, Jaden Davis.
You'll see Barbado here. He doesn't see anything there. Goes to the outside, but when you see a cut to the outside, then another one to the inside. He's really quick in getting upfield as a quick first step. Sterling, especially this fourth quarter, has been late to react to that.
So Gateway faced with the 2nd and 4. Looks like Pembroke is going to go under center. Pembroke is going to take it himself. Fumbled the snap, but it wasn't recovered by Sterling. Fell on top of it. So it's a 3rd down with 1 minute and 49 seconds left. It's going to look like the Gators are going to take this one away from the Sterling Knights. So Gators win their 2nd in a row after beating Wildwood last week, and Sterling is going to drop down to 1-3 on the season. After a win against Mastery last week, they dropped this one to a really good Gateway Gators team.
Yeah, but in a game where, I felt like it was even, the difference in the game was the turnovers. Turnovers were a killer for Sterling. A couple penalties at inopportune times, and that's why coaches always say, they're the things that could kill us, the turnovers and the penalties, and they definitely did Sterling in tonight.
So the next live TV game will be Thursday, September 26th. It'll be boys soccer against the Cinnaminson Pirates. A big game for the boys soccer team, live on youtube.com/Sterling TV Night Team, and that game will be starting at 3:45 p.m. And I cannot stress enough how big that game is for the boys soccer team. Definitely an opponent that is extremely good. And the next football game will be Saturday, September 28th. It'll be against Gloucester Catholic. It'll be live on youtube.com/Sterling TV Night Team, and it'll be an 11 a.m. kickoff.
And Mr. K and I we're no strangers to the Gloucester Catholic area and even Gloucester High. We did the games on the channel, local channel there, for sports video, which Mr. K ran, and did it for, I guess, about 12 years, from, I'm going to say 1991 until 2003, and really have good ties to there, and it's really a neat area. People are very tight. They follow the teams. There's a lot of generations that stay in that area and play for Gloucester High or Gloucester Catholic. But playing next week.
Forever grateful that Mr. K and Mr. Schulz came here to Sterling to help run this broadcast channel instead. So the game wraps up at a 22-7 score as we take a look at some of the highlights throughout the game from both of these teams. So Sterling unfortunately fell. They're 1-3 now on the season. Gateway now advances to 2-2 after 2 straight wins, one against Wildwood and now one against the Silver Knights. An unfortunate loss for the Knights, as really those turnovers and those mistakes were the killer.
Yeah, and you just got to play for the next game, and the key is forgetting about this, learn from what you did wrong, and have a good practice week.
So we're going to take a look at the last touchdown for the Gateway Gators here in this contest. It came as a QB sneak from the big Pembroke, firing in the middle of the two big dogs up front, Jake Churchill and Mason Boyd, giving Gateway the dagger as the teams are in the handshake line. A relatively clean game from both teams, not a lot of scrums, which was nice. So the first touchdown of the game went from Bink to Finger, a huge touchdown for the Gateway Gators. And then coming right back at you in a few seconds, we're going to take a look at the Sterling touchdown, the big return from JoJo Carter in a few moments here as we take a look at Gateway celebrating their big win.
Well, we've seen a lot of good things from Sterling on both coverage and return, and you definitely saw it on this next play. We're going to see where Carter just busted it up the middle. And we're trying to get that one on here. Great shot we had from our end zone camera, Channel 19. Great night by everybody here on Channel 19, tech crew. You guys did an outstanding job coming on here. We got new guys on here. David did his usual. Great job. And we had the guys in the truck. People don't realize how many people, as we look at our schedule, talking about the Gloucester Catholic game coming up, and Collingswood, and Clayton. But, we've got a ton of kids here that are behind the scenes and always come up big with replays, great camera shots. That, make us unique to any other school.
And as we fade away into the sunset, that'll do it here at Sterling TV 19. 22-7 is the final score. Thank you to Mr. K and everyone behind the scenes. Thank you to Mr. Schulz, Addison Bazulis, and Max Zuback here in the broadcast booth with me. I'm Daniel Leakin to say one last goodbye. And everyone have an amazing night. And as always, good nights.